Welcome to Gregorian Biblical Academy. Let me begin with a question that has unsettled skeptics and intrigued believers for generations. Why would an ancient Near Eastern text, written more than 3,000 years ago, specify that only animals which chew the cud and have divided hooves may be eaten? Why that combination? Why exclude the pig, an animal with split hooves, simply because it does not chew the cud? Was this just arbitrary ritualism, cultural superstition? Or could something deeper be embedded within the instruction? Today we are going to examine one of the most debated passages in the book of Leviticus, not through sentiment, not through polemic, but through biology. And what we will discover may surprise you. In Leviticus chapter 11, the dietary instruction is simple. Among land animals, you may eat those that both chew the cud and have completely divided hooves. Animals that meet only one criterion are excluded. The camel appears to chew cud but lacks the proper hoof structure. The pig has the hoof but does not chew cud. Both are declared unclean. The criteria are entirely observational. There are no anatomy lessons, no internal dissections, just behavior and hoof structure. Yet, modern zoology now recognizes that these observable traits correspond almost perfectly to a distinct biological classification, ruminants. And here is where things become fascinating. A ruminant is not simply an herbivore. It is an animal equipped with one of the most sophisticated digestive systems in the mammalian world. Take the cow. When a cow grazes, it appears almost indifferent, slowly pulling grass into its mouth. But internally, something extraordinary is about to unfold. Unlike humans, who possess a single-chambered stomach, cattle possess four distinct compartments: the rumen, the reticulum, the omasum, and the abomasum. The rumen alone can hold over 100 liters in a mature cow. But it is not merely a storage chamber. It is a fermentation vat, a vast microbial ecosystem containing billions upon billions of microorganisms, bacteria, protozoa, anaerobic fungi, methanogenic archaea. These microbes perform a biochemical task mammals cannot accomplish on their own. They break down cellulose. Cellulose is the structural fiber that gives plants rigidity. Humans can't digest it. Most animals can't access its energy directly. But ruminants can because they outsource the work to microbes. Here is how the process unfolds. The animal grazes quickly, swallowing plant material with minimal chewing. The grass enters the rumen, where microbial fermentation begins. The microbes secrete enzymes that dismantle cellulose into simpler compounds. Volatile fatty acids are produced: acetate, propionate, butyrate, which become the primary energy source for the animal. Later, when the cow rests, it regurgitates this partially fermented material back into its mouth. This is the cud. It chews again, grinding the fibers into finer particles, dramatically increasing their surface area. The material is swallowed again, returning for further fermentation. This cycle can occur for hours each day. Finally, the digesta passes into the abomasum, the true acidic stomach, where enzymes digest not only the remaining plant matter, but also the microbial biomass itself. In other words, the animal ultimately digests the very microbes that helped digest the grass. It is a symbiotic partnership of astonishing efficiency. Now consider what the biblical text required. It did not say, "You may eat animals with foregut fermentation systems." It did not reference microbial symbiosis. It simply said, "Animals that chew the cud and have divided hooves." Yet those two observable markers identify precisely the animals equipped with this specialized digestive system. This is not mystical language. It is biological classification expressed phenomenologically by observable traits rather than anatomical terminology. And here is why this matters. Ruminants are strict herbivores. Their digestive physiology is ordered toward plant fermentation. Their feeding behavior is predictable. They do not scavenge. They are not opportunistic omnivores. They do not consume carrion under normal ecological conditions. By contrast, the pig possesses a monogastric digestive system, structurally closer to humans. It can digest a wide range of materials, including animal tissue. In ancient agrarian settings without modern veterinary controls, this dietary flexibility increased its exposure to parasites and pathogens like Trichinella species and various helminths. Now, we must avoid simplistic claims. The biblical text does not explicitly state, "Avoid pigs because of parasites." That would be anachronistic. But the criteria given systematically exclude animals whose digestive systems differ fundamentally from ruminants. The distinction is real. It is anatomical. It is microbiological. It is ecological. Modern taxonomy places cattle, sheep, goats, and deer within the suborder Ruminantia, even-toed ungulates, characterized by specialized foregut fermentation. Remarkably, the biblical criteria map almost perfectly onto that grouping. And this raises a question worth pondering. How did an ancient pastoral community, without microscopes or dissection manuals, consistently identify this specific digestive class? The answer lies partly in careful observation. Shepherds lived among their animals. They observed rumination. They saw regurgitation. They noticed hoof structure. They tracked health patterns over generations. Empirical observation preceded laboratory science. But there is also a theological dimension that must not be ignored. In the covenantal framework of ancient Israel, dietary laws were not merely about hygiene. They were about holiness, about boundaries, order, and identity. Animals that fully embodied a category, both chewing cud and having divided hooves, were permitted. Animals that blurred categories, possessing one trait but not the other, were excluded. The structure of the law reinforced distinction. Order versus ambiguity. Conformity versus mixture. It was daily obedience through daily eating. Yet, what modern biology adds to discussion is a layer of depth ancient readers could not have articulated, even if they observed its effects. The rumen is a controlled fermentation chamber. Its microbial population must remain balanced. A sudden shift in diet can cause acidosis, systemic illness, even death. The entire system depends upon stability. There is something profoundly ordered about it. And ecologically, ruminants play a crucial role in grassland ecosystems. Through grazing, fermentation, and nutrient cycling, they convert otherwise indigestible plant fiber into protein that sustains entire food systems. They are biological transformers, from grass to milk, from cellulose to energy, from fiber to nourishment. When we step back, we see that the biblical criteria did not randomly divide animals. They distinguished a coherent biological group, one defined by digestive architecture and ecological function. Does this prove divine inspiration? That question moves into the realm of theology, but it certainly challenges the assumption that these laws were arbitrary. They correspond to reality. They align with anatomy. They reflect ecological awareness. And they demonstrate that observable behavioral markers can encode sophisticated biological distinctions. For the modern viewer, this should provoke neither triumphalism nor dismissal, but curiosity. What other ancient instructions deserve re-examination under contemporary scientific understanding? Where else might observational wisdom intersect with biological precision? The Science of Ruminants does not reduce Scripture to chemistry, nor does Scripture replace science with dogma. Instead, they illuminate different dimensions of the same created order. One describes covenant faithfulness. The other describes microbial fermentation. Both, in their own language, describe how the world works, and that is why this matters. Because when we slow down, when we read carefully, observe closely, and analyze rigorously, we often find that ancient texts were not naive. They were attentive, they were structured, and they were grounded in lived ecological experience. And sometimes they align in striking ways with discoveries made thousands of years later. Thank you for joining us at Gregorian Biblical Academy. If this exploration has deepened your understanding of how biology and biblical law intersect, continue with us. There's much more to uncover, where theology meets physiology and where ancient wisdom encounters modern science. Until next time, keep questioning, keep examining, and keep seeking truth with both reverence and reason.